So one of the things we're going to do tonight is do some call blasts on a Bluetooth speaker right here. We're going to start the night off. I was thinking we would do one vocalization on the hour every hour. I think I'm going to do it right at 10:15 because we kind of missed the hour mark. So I'm going to play a local in-state supposed Bigfoot vocalization from the Honubby area. I'm going to play it about 3 times in a row, and then we're just going to be quiet and listen for a while and just sit down and chill. Here goes.
Hi, this is Evans from NOBRO, and we are here on some property of the Fraley family. We were contacted by Derek a few months ago. He had noticed some unusual activity on his property that he'd never seen before, and so contacted NOBRO, and we had a team come out in April, Jody Chisholm and myself, and Derek and his family gave us a tour of the property. And we did indeed find some very unusual things that you'll see in the video here. Ryan White is also with us. He's on the camera. And with us tonight is Derek Fraley. He's allowing us to set up on the property and do a nighttime investigation to see if we can determine and capture some evidence from a nighttime visit of these creatures on the property. So,
hey, what's up, Squatch Ranger YouTube channel? This is the Squatch Ranger. So I brought my game camera and audio recorder. Evans has a game camera and audio recorder. And then our property owner, Derek, he already has a game camera set up. And from time to time he sets out an audio recorder. So we thought we'd kind of set up a base camp in the middle tonight on this private property and kind of do a triangulation effect. And then later when we're listening to our audio and checking the game cameras, maybe we can kind of figure out where sounds were coming from, that type of thing.
Derek, if you wouldn't mind, just tell our viewers when you first noticed the activity.
Okay. Yeah. So it was we were shed hunting, and it was about the middle of March of this year, and we got to just walking trails, just usual cattle trails, deer trails through the woods. That go out through a clearing and then back into another set of woods, and just started noticing a lot of unusually broken trees up high, bigger trees that had been just crushed and compressed in unusual ways. And as I've said before, this is property that I've walked my whole life, and nothing's ever stood out to me as unusual. The rest of our property doesn't show similar signs. And when we did our initial visit with you, we found more tree bends across trails. Just really pointed out a lot of strange, just stuff that's anomalous. Even with cattle on the property, it's up high, it's broken, or it's too big. The way it's been broken or moved or bent, just a lot of unusual stuff.
I don't think, because none of the other trees around it
are damaged at
all. I don't think that's storm damage.
I wouldn't think either.
And it's right on this trail.
Yep, right across it.
Right across the trail. Right across the trail.
You're learning.
And that hasn't been dead about a day or two.
I was here Thursday evening or Friday evening, and that went down.
That's interesting. And it's broke off at about, what, 7 foot?
8 foot probably, yeah. 7 foot.
You had found some possible footprints and cast those?
Yeah, so it really, all of this happened so fast. We were out mushroom hunting and antler shed hunting, and after I'd spoke with you and you made suggestions to put out a recorder and to look for prints, and it was so unusual because the first time I went and did it, we found a possible footprint, and the first night I had the recorder out, we had some tree breaking, possible knocking. Just every time I've came out here, we found a print to cast, and And as I've told everybody, it's crazy because they all come out looking like feet. You know, we found a few that aren't, obviously, and there just seems to be a lot of activity right here during this time of year for some reason. So we came through here just following the path of broken tree branches, and we came up on this and then discovered the portal as well. We called this the structure. Just uniquely stacked, I guess, as you would say. I do a lot of audio recordings from here. I left a gift here. That's what we call the portal, which looks like it's changed.
It does a little bit.
It looks more, last time it was a little bigger. It looks tighter. And this actually looks like it's changed.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a big tree missing.
Do you have pictures to
Yeah.
kind of compare and look at? So we're comparing the previous structure photos with the structure right here. We kind of got the perspective from where the pictures were taken, and it's making more sense to us now. And so our conclusion is stuff has fallen and kind of been taken away from falling. Nothing's really been added. Is that how you would say it?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. And you found some large, unusual looking tree structures that you'll see on the video Ryan's taking footage of. You even have those named.
Yeah.
Some names for them.
We've named the structure. We have the portal. We have several other areas. You know, we designated tonight. We designated the gifting rock. We have the nest. I think that's all we've named so far.
Yeah, you might mention the gifting rock. What you've tried there.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, we found just a path in between briars that was pretty worn. So thought that's unusual, and so we went and looked back in it, and it just leads to a big, probably 3 foot by 3 foot flat rock on the ground, and it dead ends at a tree. And it was just really unusual. There's no reason for a cow to be walking. It doesn't go all the way through. There's no way to get out of it. It's just you've got to go to the rock, and that's it. So a couple weeks ago, I left a golf ball and checked it off and on for about a week and a half or so, and went back, and the golf ball's gone. I looked under the brush, looked everywhere, haven't found the golf ball. So a few nights ago, before this visit, we left a teddy bear on the rock, and tonight when we checked it, obviously it had moved, but the tree that dead ends the trail was gone and broke off, and apparently was nowhere to be seen. And directly behind it is a giant briar patch, you know, so if it would have fell into the briars, it would have been laying on top. It was, you know, unusual that it was just gone.
Okay, so this is the first point where we're going to set out a game camera and audio recorder. We're near that gifting rock and the bear that Derek just placed back. We're not too far from that. So this will be able to scan this whole area back in here. And this area, Derek tells us, gives him the creeps, the heebie-jeebies. Has for a long time. Alright, we're setting out the audio recorder. Evan's game camera is just right over here a few feet. The gifting rock is over there a few yards. And so this is our kind of first viewing and listening station with the audio and the visual cameras. And we're going to go to another checkpoint. Okay, so we have Ryan's my game camera set up, and it's going to point this way towards a trail that goes into some thick trees. And then Jody's put some toys, little trinkets to catch curiosity. And then right behind my game camera, Evans is hanging his audio recorder. And then I'm also going to put out some glow sticks in this spot as well.
Scattered bones and even skulls of deer with antlers still attached.
So just by we have a tree structure, we call the structure, and just a ways from it, probably 50-60 yards, you know, we found 2 buck skulls, a doe skull, several cow bones, and some other bones just right there in the same area. And you know, years previous, I'd found another buck skull right there at the same spot. Just for whatever reason, something's taken them to that location.
So Derek, you were telling us about some exotic animals that you used to raise.
Yeah, so from the time I was a young boy, my grandparents, mainly my grandmother and uncle, raised all kinds of exotic cats, cougars, caracals, exotic cats. And then we got into the primate business. We started out with macaques, and then over the years we acquired about 60 monkeys or so, all different breeds, probably 10 or 12 different breeds I'd say I've been familiar with. And so we had those for approximately 30 years.
On this property.
Yep, so just, I've had a lot of, we've had a lot of other exotic animals, just about name it, we've probably had it. And so I've had a lot of experience with smells, with animal behavior, primate behavior specifically. So yeah, it's just something I grew up with.
And how many years has it been since you have raised those?
So the last time we had any type of exotic animals was probably approximately 6 years ago, and we donated some primates to a couple different zoos, and our last 2 remaining we sold to some friends.
And how many acres do you have out here?
Right here is a little over, it's about 350, 360 acres here on this particular tract of property.
So they'd have room to roam with no one bothering them.
Yeah, out here, you know, as I was mentioning earlier, the same families have owned this property and the surrounding properties for over 140 years. And so it's relatively the same tract of land it's always been. It's been in my family for, this piece of land's been in my family for 30 years, the surrounding land with my family's homestead, so they've been here 60 to 80 years, and the previous owners were here a lot longer.
Are there any water sources on the property?
So all over, there's about 4 or 5 ponds on this property, some of them large, most of them pretty medium-sized. And then it's also got several spring-fed shallow creeks. You know, some of them will dry out during the summer, but a lot of times you'll find good pools of water, you know, where the springs are.
Okay, so I just did the vocalizations, the call blasting. And I mean, I barely sat down in my camping chair, and I heard a little huff, and Jody heard it also. Derek, you said you heard it?
I just heard it. I thought it was like a deep sound.
Okay, he heard like a deep sound. It could have been a cow coughing, I guess.
Kind of what it initially sounded like to me, but it was just a little different possibly.
Okay, so it could have just simply been a cow coughing, but definitely got me excited there for a second because it was so quick after the call blast.
That was pretty ironic.
All right, it is 11:14. It's exactly 1 hour since we did the last call blast. We're gonna do another one. So since we've done the call blast, just moments after that, we heard the huff. I think back that way. I think the huff was back this way. I think this direction we heard like a stomp or a thud. Jody said like a Native American drum. Then back this way, she thought she heard a smaller version of that sound. So that's happened within the hour. We've seen some heat signatures. Not quite sure what's going on, but we've seen some interesting things. So here's the next call blast. Let's see here. This is going to be a Canadian Bigfoot from Canada. Here we go. Evans has something behind the gator. He said 10-15 yards into the tree line behind the gator. Something white hot, you said?
Yeah, that's. Are you seeing anything on the seek, on the other thermal?
Oh, I don't have it going right now, but I'll look in a minute.
It looks like it's peeking around a tree.
I got something coming across.
Oh yeah, I see that. What is that?
That's a tiny little critter.
Armadillo? Raccoon?
Probably. He's on the ground just.
He's almost to the gator. What is that? It's not an armadillo. Oh, he's going behind the...
He's in the brush? No?
No?
He's literally like right in front of it.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Armadillo.
Do you see it?
Yeah.
Oh god. Okay, he ran off.
So we've been theorizing of why the creatures would have seemed to have showed up all of a sudden, and what would have attracted them to the property. Of course, the fantastic habitat that's available here, and just as you'll see in the footage later, when Derek was giving us a tour tonight, we saw several deer. There's deer sign all over, and there's the ponds and waterways. There's heavy timber cover and open areas also. So the habitat is excellent. But one of the theories might have been that the scent of the primates that they were raising earlier may still be around and could have possibly attracted these creatures. But that's one of the theories that we're working on. But it's just very interesting that this particular property, where they had raised the primates in the past, that seems to have the activity. Although you did have a neighbor a couple of miles away that took a picture of a creature at their back fence line. So very interesting.
About 2 miles from here, it was 2 or 3 years ago, and definitely standing upright, just unidentifiable. Was it a bear? Was it something else? But not too far from here.
Okay, so here's the object behind the gator.
Holy cow! What is that?
Not sure.
Yeah, me neither.
So, like, you've been scanning that area earlier and it wasn't there, and then now it's there? Or...
I can't say for sure if it was there or not when I scanned earlier.
Okay.
I don't think it was. I just now noticed it.
So that box thing is the gator?
Yeah, this right
Okay.
here. And I'm guessing...
Rock in the bushes right directly behind it.
Yeah. So I don't... It doesn't seem to be tree trunk shaped. And the rest of the tree trunk is not glowing like that.
Oh, are you talking to the left of your screen, Ryan?
That's the stump, I think,
Oh, okay.
being still. I think this one's moving in the middle. It looks, if you just stare at it, it looks like it's a humanoid thing, kind of.
Yeah, it's just in and out.
But I'm sure it's a stump too, but it's... That got my attention. Especially when you thought you heard something.
Mm-hmm.
Started looking over there.
So on the property we had, there used to be an old trading depot. I can't date it. It was pre-1900s. So the foundations are still there. We found some artifacts, grinding bowls on a pond in particular up here close to the to the depot. Other than that, we haven't found anything yet, but we're always looking. We found some buttons, some old buttons, and tin buttons. But yeah, just I believe it was 2 years ago, we found a couple grinding bowls out here. So there's definitely been activity. And in fact, on the other side of the property, there is an old encampment where there was a campground, Native American campground.
So this area is probably more in what would have been historically Cherokee area, but it's also close enough. It could have been visited by Osage and some of those tribes. So it, definitely an interesting area.
Yeah. There's a lot that's went on this piece of land.
And tonight on our tour, Derek gave us a tour when we first arrived, and we even noticed some new tree breaks.
Yep.
And these weren't, these were higher than what cattle, with the cattle on the property that you would associate with it, you know, where cattle went through the brush or something like that. These were higher and located in areas that were, you know, odd locations. So we're still noticing appears to be some ongoing activity, even though we were here in early April when it was still fairly cool, and now returned. And this is a Father's Day weekend of June 2023. It's the 18th, Sunday night, the 18th. We're still noticing some ongoing activity. It's a beautiful, clear night here. Lots of stars out. It's a nice little breeze. Last night did have some bad storms come through all across the state. We did find some areas where there was obvious storm damage, but then other areas where the tree breaks were older than that and did not appear to be, we couldn't relate those to being just storm damage. So we'll have all these on video for you to see, and we appreciate you watching. Thanks.
Huh?